what drive me is living every word
Okay.
and being that same way and just being this person, being that rock star. And it's hard because it just be like, damn, I don't want to stop it and the fans stop loving me. It was like, it's like me taking a chance on like when I didn't want to tell nobody I stopped drinking lean. I didn't want to tell because I felt like, damn, they're going to be like, oh, his music changed because he ain't drinking lean no more. Oh, I can hear it when he changing. It's just like, and people are like, damn, why you don't even say it? It's like, but it just be hard when your fans so used to you a certain kind of way, is that certain persona, you be afraid to change.
What's up, geniuses? Welcome back to For the Record, and I'm your host, Rob Markman. Now, today's guest is super special, all right? In music, every couple of years, there comes an artist where you can mark that defines an era, all right? So you can remember music before Future and after Future. On Friday, his new album is coming out, Future Hndrxx Presents, The WIZRD, Super Future. Welcome to For the Record, man.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Nah, man, thank you for coming, man. It's been a long time coming. I remember covering you, you know, when the Dirty Sprite era. I remember doing a mixtape daily in my MTV New days on True Story.
Right.
And feeling like, I remember writing this article, the headline was Future is the Future of Hip Hop. Because at the time, this is maybe around 2011, there was a shift. There was a sonic shift that was happening. The sound of music was changing. Looking back on that time, were you aware of the shift that was happening? Do you even acknowledge how much you might have changed music now?
I wasn't aware. Definitely wasn't aware of it, just being me, just doing me, making music and just trying to bring something new.
Right. Nah, man. So, and that's why it's so dope to have you here because when you really talk about artists, there's certain artists that are just kind of icons that shift the culture. So, you know, we're really, really happy to have you here. Now, you got this new album coming, Future Hndrxx Presents, The WIZRD.
Yes.
First of all, I want to ask you about the title. Now, just Future Hndrxx Presents. What was the creative thinking behind that?
It was because of the WIZRD. It was just me putting everything to the end, you know what I'm saying? For us, like, me having a new chapter, me ready to go to the new chapter in my life and everything. And my uncle used to always call me the WIZRD, rest in peace. But that was his thing. He called me the WIZRD. And it was just showing love to him, also just like dedicating this album to him and the name that he respected. And I feel like that I've worked for and I've worked to become everything that he's seen before it even happened. It was just like Future Hndrxx, because that's what I am right now. I feel like Future Hndrxx, that's the artist that I became. And from the beginning, it was like I always embraced Hendrix, but now it's more so it's just like that's my name, Future Hndrxx, and putting everything behind me and moving on and going to the new chapter.
The WIZRD. What is there a sign, because you adopt these different monikers, you know, Future, obviously the name that you became famous off of. Hendrix was this thing that developed through the years, and it was a sound that developed too. And a lot of with your names, there's a lot of sounds that's developed with certain aliases that you have. Is there a certain sound, you know, associated with the WIZRD, or is it not that deep?
No, it's not even that deep, but also it's just me bridging the gap between when I first came out and to where I'm at right now, just being super repetitive to being just more melodic, and just making real records with substance. You know what I'm saying? Just bridging the gap.
It's funny because I hear the record Jumping on the Jet,
Yeah.
and it reminds me of old Future,
Future.
you know, on the grind mixtape come up, Future. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of gave me like a similar vibe, you know, maybe not magic, but you know what I'm saying, something like that. Like
that's
I had
what I
that
wanted
bounce.
to do with the WIZRD. I wanted to be able to take you on like a roller coaster ride, but just take you on a journey with me, just from the beginning to where I'm at right now.
Okay. What else can we expect from this album, man? I know you said you only have like one. There's not many features on it. It might be like one feature or something like that.
Right. But with this album, just like I say, it's just taking you on that journey with me, just knowing from the beginning of my career. If you was following me from the beginning to now, you'll be able to see the growth. You'll be able to hear the growth. You'll be able to distinguish the sounds, and you know, oh man, this that True Story feature, or this that Dirty Sprite feature, or this the Future Hndrxx, this the Hendrix album. You know what I'm saying? Me bridging the gap and bringing everything into one.
I remember, maybe it's because, you know, I had interviewed you and first got really introduced to you as a professional. Obviously, I heard Dirty Sprite and when True Story came out Irv Gotti has this quote that I love that he says it's called the do it again business. So if you did something hot, do it again. And at that time you had Dirty Sprite. It was like, all right, can you do it again? And then when True Story, I was like, nah, this is just too ridiculous. Like, and you've done it again and again and again and again and again. We're going almost on 10 years now. Through that whole time, you know, I was watching this documentary on Apple, the WIZRD documentary, on Apple Music, and you know, they've been following you for years. These cameras,
Right.
Was that tough for you to have you? I know you're also a very private person. You're a man of few words. You put a lot into your music rather than out in the world like that. Was it like intrusive to be documented like that all of these years?
Definitely intrusive, and I just had to open up and be comfortable and find ways to be comfortable with the cameras around me that much and around my family. But it was just like me just compromising, even with my team. My team wanted to see it. They felt like it would be a great thing for my fans to see, for me to open up and talk more. And I felt like it's doing what it's supposed to do at this point.
Now, it is dope, man. It gives a rare glimpse into, you know, things like I enjoyed about it, like even watching you talk about like just how you made Mask Off. Because we love these songs. We're not here in the studio for them. And how you said that you recorded this record just sitting down in the chair. And since then, you just sit down in the chair and record records now?
Yeah, I just sit down. I think it's a good thing for me to just create the way I created, and I find different moments in my life that I feel like, okay, let me take this moment and just soak this moment up and just make the most of this. So me sitting down is just me making the most of a moment and not trying to just stray away from something that worked for me. Be like, just because it worked, if it worked for you, continue to do it. So it was just, sometimes when it worked, I always want to try another way to find another way to work. But I think I'm gonna go back in the booth one day, but at the end of the day, it's just like it worked, and I don't want to just try to break something because I want to just try something new.
Right. So something else in the doc that was dope, and I wonder how you felt. Have you seen the doc yet? I know.
Yeah, I seen the doc.
Okay, so you have watched it.
Yeah.
Seeing Andre 3000 in the documentary, knowing your history, knowing you know, being related, being cousins with Rico Wade, and your connection to the Dungeon family, and obviously Outkast was larger than life, best hip hop group of all time. You know what I'm saying? And Andre 3000 in that doc, I'm watching that, and we're all fans of Andre, but he's a fan of you. Like, he's like gushing and not afraid to show it. He's not too cool. Like, he had the quote, Future makes the most negative, inspirational music ever. And then he talks about how he could hear how you could balance your pain. How does it feel to have Andre be such a fan of you and such a cheerleader and a champion for what you do?
It's great because he's my favorite artist ever. Like, when I was a kid, that was my favorite artist. And to hear him speak of me the way he speak is it's a great thing. It made me never want to stop. It made me want to just continue to go and continue to be me and continue to just grow as a person and just as an artist. Even so, just being an overall a great person at the end of the day.
Do you recognize that things that he says, right? Like says you make the most inspirational music. You know, to start the show, I've said, and I believe this, I'll go on record and I'll tell anybody, like, music changed after Future arrived. Like, the sound of hip hop, the sound of music, the sound of what everybody did shifted to where you are. I asked you earlier at the beginning that you recognized this shift happened, and you didn't. You were just doing you. Now that your career is established and you're here at this point, do you recognize how Future has changed music? Do you recognize the things that Andre 3000 says about you and all the critics say about you?
Recognize it, but the type of person I am, it'll be like corny for me. I feel like to be like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I want other people to recognize it. I want the people that created and was inspired by me to tell me that, for them to tell the world that.
Okay. Your work ethic, man. Let's just talk about your work ethic, nonstop. I mean, ever since you came out, mixtape after mixtape, album after album. You know, 2007, you did Future and you did Hndrxx back to back. You know, you did 7 albums since 2012, since your debut mixtape. You got like joint projects with Juice WRLD, Drake, Zaytoven, Young Thug. You ever get tired, man? Like the output that you put is so tremendous. Does it ever get to you? Is it draining to be Future all the time?
It is draining. It gets draining because I understand the lifestyle. At first, I fiend for the lifestyle. I love the lifestyle, and then get the lifestyle be like, it get too much when you got to keep creating these moments, and you want to move on from these moments. But these moments that make the music, like having a lot of girls around, partying and being up late, and you know what I'm saying, not being normal, being abnormal as possible, making sure you different, making sure you live in every line, and it just get too much on you when you just been doing it for so many years. You like, man, I don't even want to do it no more. But then the people around you, they chasing the high, so they want you to continue to chase that same high. Like, but you got to do that. You're not gonna be real if you don't do it no more. If you don't have this, if you do this, you're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like me, like, damn, the people I'm sacrificing so much for just myself, my personal life, or even the way my image of people looking at me, because everybody around me are be like, you need to make this shit and you need to live this shit, and me standing on my words of, man, I need to live every word that I'm talking about. And it just get much, because I'll be like, damn, I want to make new shit that I'm not living no more, and I want to just put an end to that. So the WIZRD was so much of, it's just basically me putting an end to that chapter and like moving on and like, man, accept me how I am now.
So we're gonna see. So is it safe to assume, based on what you say, after the WIZRD, we might see another shift, another direction, another sound, new lanes that Future's going in?
Yes.
Okay, that's exciting, man. It's definitely exciting. So what drives you? What drives you still? What gets you up in the morning? What gets you going? Because at the same time, it's like, while I can understand that you're tired, just the output, how you're out working, um, the music is still great. It's not like, I don't want it to sound like you're just going through the motions, because you're not, because you're still being great. So what drives you? What are you chasing? What are you reaching for now?
That's why I say what drive me is that's why I say the drive me is me from living every word.
Okay.
And being that same way, and just like just being this person, being that rock star. Mm-hmm. So it drives you, you know what I'm saying, to continue to make the music and continue to be in the music, the fans, what they love you for. And it's hard because it just be like, damn, I don't want to stop it and the fans stop loving me. It was like, it's like me taking a chance on, like, when I didn't want to tell nobody I stopped drinking lean. I didn't want to because I felt like, damn, they're going to be like, oh, his music changed because he ain't drinking lean no more. Oh, I can hear it when he changing. It's just like, and people are like, damn, why you don't even say it? It's like, but it just be hard when your fans so used to you a certain kind of way, is that certain persona. You be afraid to change. You be like, you're afraid if they not gonna even accept me no more.
Right. I think they're gonna accept you, man. I seen one of the greatest things when we talk about culture. First of all, so I just fucked your girl in some Gucci flip flops is a true story. This really happened.
It's true.
You were really in Gucci flip flops, busting it down. Do you trip out? I remember Halloween that year. People were dressed up as Gucci flip flops.
But I probably did it. So many other people that did it too. You know what I'm saying? It might have been a girl that had Gucci flip flops on, and vice versa. So it's just like, it's real moments for me and other people also, and people that want to live that moment. When they heard it, they might want to do the same thing and did it, and it was just to have truth to it.
Another thing that André said in the documentary, I remember growing up being an Outkast fan, him texting you when you were in New York, and talking about the respect. And there was a time when New York was the birthplace of hip hop, so everybody looked to New York, and New York was a hard town to win over. It is not that way anymore. Atlanta, if we're being real, the sound, the hip hop sound, what hip hop comes, our culture sound comes out of your city. And you being one of the front runners of that. Did you foresee that happening? Like, now everybody is following what Atlanta is doing and looking, if you could blow up in Atlanta, then you good everywhere else in the world.
It really was just all the work put in before me, a combination of everything in one. Everybody, all the artists before me that put in work for Atlanta, and just the combination of what I've done and the combination of other artists that came behind me, just to keep it going.
It was dope, and it's still going. It's dope to see. I saw you did an interview where you really saluted Lil Baby and Gunna, for their sound and what they're doing, and so it's dope, because as much as you've done, you don't like take it all for yourself. You really kind of share and inspire and let other people get their shine too. Like, even you doing the album with Juice WRLD.
Yeah, that's what having confidence do for you. You have self-confidence, man. And you ain't trying to take away from anyone else, you know what I'm saying? And you know what you do, you know what you add towards the game, you know who you are with yourself, you comfortable in your own skin. It's good.
One thing about the documentary too that I want to touch on, and I wonder again, when we talk about your process, sitting, how, we talk about how you just freestyle, and whatever's going on in that day will most likely end up in a song, or sitting down after Mask Off, because Mask Off was so successful. The documentary touches on the death of your friend and your collaborating engineer, Seth Firkins, who had such, you collaborated with him. He was in the studio working with you. Since he's passed, does that change your process in the studio? Like, what was the process like for you, having to adjust to not having him there as you work on these new music?
They haven't changed my process, but it definitely it made me work harder. You know what I'm saying? It made me go even harder when he passed away. Just looking over and not seeing him there to the right of me, because we always record when I'm on the left, he on the right. Just looking over to the right and not seeing him, just the only thing that get to me to this day. But besides that, man, I just keep recording the same process, the same way. All the engineers that was coming up around him, we had like interns in the studio that were watching Seth, so we pretty much do the same thing, keep the same templates, everything still say Seth. It's just he not there.
Right. But he set part of that tempo, so the guys who came up under him,
he set that foundation, and
that's dope.
So it was all good as the recording process go.
Speaking of your process, is one question I had, man, because it became a big thing. On J-Rock's King's Dead, with J-Rock, featuring you and featuring Kendrick Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you had a verse there that drove everybody crazy. People ain't know whether to love it or hate it, and they ended up loving it. I seen the whole Madison Square Garden when J-Rock performed. They dropped the mic and everybody said, la-di-da-di-da, slava manab. And it became this thing, like this cultural kind of phenomenon. When you go in the club, it's the part that everybody sings in the song. Right. Did you know that was gonna happen? Like when you're in the studio and you're like, this is it, you kind of change your voice different. It was like, yo, why is that Future? Why is he? And it just blew up.
It's crazy you said it, because when I did it, I did another verse. And then at the end, I did the lottie-dottie part. But that was my favorite part. But I was like, man, I'm just bullshitting. I'm just playing around. So I did the verse first. I did a verse for the song. And then I just did that at the end, just in case they want to keep it like an outro or something. And then he kept it, like Kendrick kept it. I was just like, man, I ain't want that on my verse. He was like, man, that's the best part. I was like, damn, that's dope. And then when it came out, everybody took towards it like that. They like gravitated towards that part like that. I was like, damn, that's the part I didn't even do in the verse. I just actually left it at the end of the song, and he put it in the verse. So shout out to Kendrick for doing that.
That's dope, man. I remember when it came out, I was definitely part of the group. I was like, yo, what is Future doing? No, what is this?
I didn't put it in the verse.
But it's undeniable. When I seen them play the Garden, and I seen that part and they dropped the part, and the whole Madison Square Garden does it and tries to catch that same pitch that you caught. I said it's undeniable, man. And it's just, it's a testament to you, and also you giving credit to Kendrick for knowing that was the part of the song.
I'm doing it with no effort, just raw talent, just coming out. And sometimes people critique what I have, and that's a great thing to have people around me that recognize it.
So, like, before you really broke out as an artist and we became to know you as Future, there was WIZRD, and that was a big record. When we heard that, we started, it was kind of that sound shift that I was talking about, but your name wasn't on it just yet. It was YC's record. Did you write the entire record? Was that whole record yours?
Yes.
So from beginning to end?
Yes.
And it was really that moment that made you feel like you had to go harder for yourself, because you've written for others since then.
Yeah, of course.
But seeing the success of that record, did it open your eyes to the success that Future can have as an artist on his own?
When I had that success of that record, I was like, man, it's on. That's all I needed, was to get in the game somehow, some way. And when that opened up more, it opened up the doors for me to just have my voice.
What's your favorite Future record of all time? I know everybody has they different favorites.
It's called For My People.
Okay, For My People. Man, I might have to go with March Madness, man. It's something about...
Yeah, March Madness too, like March Madness. It's a bunch of them, though, man. I like New Bugatti because I made it in 30 seconds. I remember making that shit so quick, and for the impact it had, that shit just like, it just changed.
Was that the quickest song that you did, New Bugatti? Was that like record time for you? You said 30 seconds, bro.
Oh man,
I
I did
reckon.
so many records quick.
What's
Like I
the
did
longest?
so-
Let's go this way. What's the record? Do you ever get stuck on a record? Was there ever a record that you couldn't quite figure it out and it took you longer than the rest?
Oh man, what's the record that took long? It didn't take long. If it's a hit, it come right away. It come right away. If it's a hit, it gotta come right away. Like
You said
for me,
right.
that's the way it worked.
You said 30 seconds though. Like 30 seconds, it
Nah,
changed
30
a lot of
because
lives in
it ain't
30
even
seconds.
It's like whatever I said. The first thing I said was, "I come looking for you." That was the first thing I said. So it wasn't 30 seconds. It was like when I walked in the booth and they turned the mic on. So it was like 1 second. Because whatever I said the first time, that was the first take. It wasn't like I did it over and I tried to do another take. It was like that's the first thing I said was new Bugatti. Like the same way you hear it on the track is the same way I said it. I didn't do no takes over or nothing.
I'm about to quit my whole job and find something I could do in 30 seconds that had changed my life in 7 seconds. Oh, nah, man. But yo, man, I really, really appreciate you coming for the record, man. I think it's dope to have an artist like you. I think you put out a lot of music, but I think when you really analyze it, like in what you be saying in your music, like your fans really gravitate towards it. And I just kind of wanted to have a conversation with you and get to know your process and how your process have evolved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so Future, man, thank you for coming to Genius. Thank you for coming for the record.
Man, thank you for having me on Genius.
Nah, man, you're welcome anytime. Anytime you drop something, anytime you want to come back, anytime you want to talk about lyrics, man, you definitely have a home here.
Appreciate
We're here for you, all right?
Thank you.
My man.
Love.
And thank you for tuning in. Check us out next week on For the Record. And definitely pick up that Future Hndrxx Presents the WIZRD album out on Friday. Peace.